This is the right hand side bottom cabinet. And let's take a look into it. This is what I have in it. This is the salsa that I usually use for burritos when I make that, and satay sauce. I'm in the process of not buying any more ready-made sauces or dips anymore because of all the preservatives it has, but I've already bought these and I want to use them up and not throw them away, so I'm going to use them up. And this is the elbows and spaghetti, and I don't know what this shape is called, but it looks like tubes, cylindrical shapes. So this one, and small shells. I got this pasta from Italy. I don't know about you guys, but I always prefer food souvenirs from anywhere I travel. So if anybody's like me, please comment down below. And I have other types of salsas as well. If you want really good ready-made salsa, this brand is amazing. This is the only brand of salsa that I like. We don't get these in Ireland anymore, but on my trip to Northern Ireland, I found these in Sainsbury's there. That's where I bought it. These are amazing. And I have some coconut milk and tuna inside. On the underneath cabinet, I have my chapati flour and my atta for dusting. This is another tip I got from my mother-in-law. You always keep a small portion of your chapati flour in a small box. Once you've kneaded your chapati flour, you only take this box when flattening your rotis. It makes, if you have a smaller kitchen, you don't have to have these out in the counter when you're making chapatis. It frees up your counter while making roti. My vanilla extract, cream of tartar, cocoa powder, some birthday candles, baking soda and baking powder. This is my cabinet on the left hand side of the stove. So this has my aluminum foil, cling wrap and baking paper. Instead of using cling wrap, try to use the silicone lids that are available in the market now, which keeps your food airtight as well, and it is eco-friendly as well because it is reusable. And I have all my cutlery that I use for cooking, have my other utensils like the meat cutter and my pastry brush, ice cream scoop, the thing that you use to take out your idli, and peeler. This is another useful tool to have in the kitchen if you have an electric stove. This is Kitchen Craft. This is from Kitchen Craft, and it is a scraper. This is a glass scraper, and you use liquid on the stove and use this scraper and you can take out any stains. I'm going to actually put a video on it on how to remove stubborn stains from an electric stove without scratching it using this. I have few Ziploc bags that I got from the IKEA. Again, I'm in the process of using these up and I will never buy these again. I would rather just use reusable containers. And I have these rubber bands in I use these when you have an open packet and you want to reseal them with the rubber band, or I use this, or I even use clothespins, which I will show you guys later. And I have measuring cups, toothpicks. If you want to get any, they obviously have a purpose, their own purpose, but I use them for getting dust or grime from a very narrow space. And scissors and Sharpies. This is what I use to label all my spice containers. And I have a lot of spoons here that I use in all my spice jars. This is my next cabinet. I have my grater and my wok and my few pans of oil. And I have my pestle and mortar. Try grinding your spices in a pestle and mortar and you'll never go back. The flavor is much better than a mixie or even a spice grinder. And this is my potato masher, and I consider this like a universal tool, like even to mash your dal, because this is much better than a traditional mattal, she call it tamar. And because it has sharp edges and a short handle which is so easy to maneuver, so this is really good. I have a traditional potato masher as well. And keep your tea filter and separate from other filters. This is the filter that I usually use for coconut milk or any other purpose. I keep them separately. And I have spare filters from India. I don't use my filters once they get really stained with the tea, so I keep replacing them. So these are my spare filters. This is my next cabinet. I have my chapati tawa over here and my non-stick dosa tawa, my lids, and I have 3 saucepans. If you don't have traditional steam baskets, this is a steamer from the IKEA, which I really like when you're making kurkut. You can even use your idli vessel, but when you're using small portions, this comes in really handy. And it's a space saver too. This is my seasoning small pan. I have 2 of those because this is such a good quality and heavy one. I'm not able to get rid of it, but I should actually, because I never use it. This is the one that I normally use, because when you buy a kadai like this, look for something that has a handle like this, because this lies flat like that, wherein this, especially if you have an electric stove, this is gonna take much longer for it to heat up than this. So when you go for something like this, it needs to have a handle like that for it to keep it in place. And I have a big cooker over there, which is a big mistake. Big cooker, big mistake. Well, actually I bought this on my last visit to India, when my husband actually told me that I wasn't gonna get much use of it, but I bought it anyway. So it was a dumb purchase. I actually could, if you're from, I don't know, because I am from Chennai, so I can only vouch for that place. When you're on your vacation back to India, you can actually exchange a cooker for a cooker or a pan for a pan in many of the stores. So I will actually do that, so that I get something that I get much more better use of. This is a cabinet which was initially storing only an iron board, and it didn't have all these partitions. My husband actually made these partitions just for me when I was complaining to him about the lack of storage space in our house. So I have the kitchen towels, and this is the NutriBullet. Another tip for families who are traveling abroad from India is to never take a mixie, because you can easily replace it with the NutriBullet, and it does exactly what your Indian mixie does. And one of the biggest advantages of this is, even if your liquids are partially hot, it will never splash around. The liquids will never splash onto your walls, and you will not have a disaster on your hands. And trust me, I'm talking from experience. This is how I ruined my walls using the Indian mixie. I blame the mixie. Of course, I could have been patient enough to let the liquids just cool down, but it's easier to blame the mixie. And I have my plastic storage containers as well. These containers are different. They don't store leftovers like meal prep containers, so they store regular ingredients like coriander, mint, and I prep for our smoothies as well. So I would have celery, cucumber, kale, everything cut and put into these containers. So that's that. I have my cooker, the only cooker that I use, and the extra pots as well. And another tip from my mom, she's a really good cook, is that you make all your sambars and kuttu in a cooker, and it tastes much different than done in a open pot, because it gives you the flavor profile as if it was there simmering for hours. So you get that done in half the time, and the taste is amazing. So please do try that. And this is a splatter screen that I again got from Lidl. I use this mainly to drain rice. This is amazing for draining rice. If you cook rice in an open pot and you want to drain it in the traditional method, this is amazing for that. And I cook rice in an open pot instead of a traditional cooker is because I don't like rice to get caked up after a few hours of cooking. If I'm gonna have rice, the same rice again for dinner, I want it to be fluffy and not caked up. That is mostly the reason that I cook it in an open pot. You get fluffier rice. And I have big plates over here. which usually I use for meal prep. If I'm making a dish, I usually pre-cut vegetables and everything and put it onto a plate, so the cooking process is much more enjoyable and easier as well. This is the thing which is called a tambala tatte in Tamil. I don't know what the English word for this would be. So I usually knead my chapati flour in this. This is again a thing that I learned from all the fellow North Indian bloggers on YouTube. So this is where I knead my chapati flour, because you have wider area to knead around. So this is really good. And I have another cooker over there, which is something has gone wrong and it has died, and so I'm going to exchange it during my visit to India this winter. And I have a spiralizer over there, and I have raw rice and idli rice over there, and I have very little rice in it, but this is, when I was new to cooking, I didn't know this. I'm saying this only for people who are like me. So when you find raw rice that is thick like this, you are to use that for idli or dosa batter, and for all your snacks like korkattai, murukku, etc. But when you find raw rice that is thin and it looks like your normal poni rice, that you're supposed to use for your variety rice like puliyodare, lemon rice, etc. And that tastes better like that. And this is the lower cabinet. I store my basmati rice and my poha, all the instant noodles, which again I will not be buying again, but I'm in the process of using it up. Pad Thai noodles and red rice. And I have my food processor attachments over here. That is another useful purchase, because it grates beetroot, carrot, everything in like minutes. So cuts down your meal prep. And let's take a look at this hutch. In this basket I store all my overstock of dal and beans, etc. And in this I have my food processor attachments. Another tip is, if you have the attachments accessible enough like this, you're more inclined to use it. And this is the food processor, and I have the homemade chili powder, and I have my whole spices, overflow of whole spices over here, the Himalayan pink salt, and it would have ragi flour, all overflow of nuts and powders, seeds, etc. is in that. And this is overflow of spices that is in this over here. Now let's take a look at my counter. I want my counter to be as free as possible, free of stuff, because it gives me a lot of surface area to work with when I'm cooking, to like bring down things and etc. So only these three are the only things that I have on my counter. So this is a cutlery stand, this is a cutlery stand as well, and it is important that you keep your onion and garlic aerated like this in open. So this, I am in the process of actually using up things, so when I free up space I would actually transfer them somewhere else inside the cabinet, and this would be the only thing later on the counter on my kitchen. So I have my onion and garlic, and I have all these things. This is a turner, which is an all-purpose thing to flip your dosa. This is much better than a traditional dosa ladle because it has multiple purposes. And this is a cutlery stand as well, and I want to say this is an amazing gadget, and this is an amazing tool to have. This again I learned from Nigella Lawson. This is called a magic whisk, and this is from the Kitchen Craft, which I got from Woody's. This can remove lumps from anything, absolutely anything. So this is a must tool to have. Whips eggs, but I mainly use it for making a raita. When you want to make a smooth raita, you want to get rid of all the lumps in the curd or the yogurt. This is the best. And this again is a nice tool to have in the house. This is called a spatula. Obviously everybody knows a spatula. So what I use this for is, you can use this for baking as well, but my main use for this is to scrape up all the leftover gravy that you have in your pan. If you're an Indian, I don't know if this is a South Indian habit, but in my family we never waste a drop of any gravy that my mom makes, because she's an amazing cook. So this takes it out like you clean the entire pot. So this is another useful thing. Last cabinet, and this is all the cleaning supplies, and this is my rice container, and I have all my cleaning liquids and cleaning cloths over there, and this is trash bags and wipes and everything. And I've recently switched over to the silicone sponges, and they are going good for now. And gloves. This is another important thing as well. If you want to keep your hands young and soft, I recommend using the gloves. Even by a week's worth of use, my hands look much better. And of course, moisturize at night. And another tip I learned from my younger sister is that you keep your dishwashing liquid in a spray bottle mixed with water. Makes it much easier to spray the liquid onto a wide area of the vessel, and also cuts down the use of the dishwashing liquid as well. And I keep all my baking supplies and measuring jugs, and my sieve and my weighing scale as well underneath. I've always been a fan of having an island in the house, so when I ran out of storage space, I immediately got this. This was fortunately on clearance in Home Store, and so I got this. And I have to say, even though I get a lot of use out of it, I still think it was a useless purchase because I just ran out of storage space. I still had a lot of junk that I was hoarding, but I still went and got a furniture, because that's another tip. If you're running out of storage space, don't immediately run to the furniture store. Go through all the things that you already have, and I'm very sure that you will find a bunch of stuff that you want to throw away. If not, you're a hoarder. So get over it and throw up all the junk, because life is too short to be cleaning things that you're gonna barely use. Just relax, watch TV, or even watch my videos. Shameless plug. So that's the story of this. So I have all my knives over here, and I always keep a screwdriver in here. If you have a cooker or a pan that has a loose screw, you can adjust it. And I have all my English spices over here. I know it seems excessive, trust me, I know. And I have all my Indian spices over here. And I'm in the process of using up all of these so that I don't have to buy all of these again. Nobody needs this many spices. I'm not running a restaurant here. So yeah, I'm gonna use up all of these and never buy them again. Please learn from my mistakes. And in the third drawer, I store my potatoes, which usually look really sprouted and sad, but for this video they look really happy. And in this cabinet we have mixing bowls again, and my chapati rolling pin, and another filter which I usually use for the tamarind extract, and my idli cooker, and a microwave splatter thing that I never use, but I still will store. And I have this marble slab thing which I use for making chapati, the chapati base. So that's it for this video. It took us roughly around 2 hours to make this video, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful while I'm editing, and 2 hours of footage. So a lot of effort has gone into this video, and I hope you guys liked the kitchen tour, and you guys got some useful information out of it. So if so, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Until then, bye bye.